Karen's voice was a chainsaw, slicing through the cul-de-sac's evening calm. "You're done. Kid, your little art project violates every HOA code." She barked, her chins wobbling as she jabbed a sausage-like finger at my brother. "Ethan." The clipboard in her meaty hand was her scepter, her self-awarded badge of suburban tyranny glinting under the streetlights. Ethan, barely 20, stood in our driveway, spray paint cans at his feet, his latest Murala vibrant phoenix rising from flameshaft finished on our garage door. Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of Willow Creek Homeowners Association, had caught him red-handed. Or rather, red spray-painted. She wasn't alone. Flanking her were two minions, Gary, a wiry man with a permanent squint, and Linda, a nervous woman clutching a walkie-talkie like it was her lifeline. Both wore ill-fitting vests emblazoned with HOA security, a laughable title for a group whose biggest crime-fighting achievement was finding Mrs. Jenkins for her overgrown azaleas. Ethan, in his ripped jeans and paint-splattered hoodie, looked more amused than scared, even as Karen slapped a pair of dollar store handcuffs on his wrists. "You think you can deface my neighborhood?" She sneered, her voice dripping with venom. "I'm hauling you to the station myself." The neighbors, drawn by the commotion, peeked from porches and windows. Old Mr. Callahan shook his head, muttering about kids these days. Mrs. Lopez, usually so kind, clutched her dog and whispered to her husband. Nobody dared cross Karen. Her reign over Willow Creek was absolute fines for unapproved mailboxes, citations for lawn gnomes, even a ban on basketball hoops. She thrived on control, her obesity only matched by her inflated ego. To her, Ethan's mural was an art. It was rebellion, a direct challenge to her iron-fisted rule. But Ethan wasn't just some rebellious kid. I knew something Karen didn't. My brother had been working undercover, a fact so absurd it could have been ripped from a bad cop show. Months ago, he'd been recruited by the FBI to infiltrate a local scam ring, fake HOA officials extorting residents with trumped-up fines and threats of jail. Karen, Gary, and Linda weren't just overzealous neighbors. They were crooks, pocketing thousands from terrified homeowners. Ethan's mural, bait. His arrest, part of the plan. But as I watched from our living room window, my stomach knotted. This was cutting it too close. Karen shoved Ethan toward her golf cart, parked crookedly across our driveway. "You'll regret crossing me," she hissed, her face so close to his I could see the sweat beading on her forehead. Ethan smirked, unfazed. "You sure about that, Karen?" he said, his voice calm but edged with defiance. Her eyes narrowed. "Don't you dare talk back to me, you little punk." She raised her clipboard like a gavel, ready to deliver another lecture, when the screech of tires cut through the air. A black SUV roared into the cul-de-sac, kicking up gravel as it skidded to a stop. The driver's door flew open, and out stepped Agent Marcus Reed, Ethan's FBI handler. 6 feet of pure authority. Reed was all sharp jawline and sharper eyes, his badge flashing under the streetlights like a warning shot. The crowd gasped. Karen froze, her clipboard hovering midair. Gary dropped his walkie-talkie, and Linda let out a squeak, her face paling to the color of her beige vest. Karen Marie Dobbs. Reed's voice boomed, each syllable a hammer strike. "Step away from the kid. You're under arrest for fraud, extortion, and impersonating an officer." He held up his badge, the real one, its silver glint mocking the cheap plastic pin on Karen's chest. Her mouth opened, then closed, like a fish gasping for air. What? She stammered, her bravado crumbling. This is my neighborhood. I'm in charge here. Reed didn't blink. You're in charge of nothing but a rap sheet now. He nodded to Ethan, who slipped out of the flimsy handcuffs with a flick of his wrists. The crowd murmured, confusion rippling through the neighbors. Mrs. Lopez's dog barked, breaking the stunned silence. Ethan grinned, rubbing his wrists. Told you. Karen. Bad move. The truth hit like a freight train. Karen's HOA wasn't just strict, it was a scam. For years, she'd posed as an official, forging documents, collecting fines that went straight to her bank account. Gary and Linda, her lackeys, were in on it, skimming their share while bullying residents into compliance. Ethan's mural, loud and defiant, was the perfect lure to draw Karen out, to catch her in the act of her fake arrest. And now, with Reed's arrival, her empire was collapsing. Karen's face twisted, a mix of rage and panic. You can't do this, she shrieked, lunging toward Reed. He sidestepped her effortlessly, and two more agents emerged from the SUV, their cuffs clinking ominously. Oh, we can, Reed said, his tone icy. We've got bank records, forged letters, and enough complaints to bury you. He turned to the crowd. Anyone else been shaken down by this woman? Speak now. The neighbors hesitated. Then voices rose. Mr. Callahan stepped forward, his voice trembling. She fined me $500 for my flagpole. Said it was unpatriotic without a permit. Mrs. Lopez chimed in, her eyes blazing. She threatened to tow my car for parking on my own street. One by one, the stories poured out years of fear, of bowing to Karen's demands, of believing her lies. The air crackled with righteous anger. Karen's knees buckled. This is a mistake, she wailed. But the agents weren't listening. They cuffed her, her wrists straining against the metal, and led her to the SUV. Gary and Linda, spineless as ever, tried to slip away, but Reed's sharp, "Don't move," pinned them in place. The crowd cheered, a wave of relief and rebellion washing over Willow Creek. Someone misses. Lopez, I think, pinned a note to a mailbox. HOA tyrant caught red-handed. It flapped in the evening breeze, a makeshift victory flag. Ethan dusted off his hoodie, his grin wider than ever. Nice timing, Reed, he said. The agent clapped him on the shoulder. You played your part, kid. Now finish that mural. Ethan laughed, picking up a spray can. The phoenix on our garage door seemed to glow brighter, its flames a symbol of something bigger: freedom, justice, the end of Karen's reign. As the SUV pulled away, Karen's face pressed against the window, her smugness gone, replaced by a mix of fear and disbelief. She'd built her kingdom on intimidation, on the lie that she was untouchable. But tonight, Willow Creek saw her for what she was: a fraud, a bully, a nobody. The neighbors lingered, swapping stories, their voices alive with newfound courage. For the first time in years, our street felt like a community again. Ethan's mural was finished by midnight, the phoenix soaring across the garage door, bold and untamed. It wasn't just art, it was a statement. A reminder that no one, not even a self-proclaimed queen like Karen, could silence us forever. The crowd dispersed, but the energy lingered, a spark of defiance that would outlast the night. Karen's trial came weeks later. The evidence was overwhelming: bank statements, fake badges, even a notebook where she'd gleefully tallied her fines. She got 5 years. Gary and Linda less. Willow Creek elected a new HOA, one that actually served the neighborhood. Ethan, ever the free spirit, moved on to his next mural, his FBI days behind him. But the story of that night spread. A legend of the kid who took down a tyrant with a can of spray paint and a badge-wielding ally. The lesson wasn't just about Karen's fall. It was about standing up. About seeing through the bluster of those who wield power for its own sake. Karen thought she owned us. But she forgot one thing, a community. When pushed too far, pushes back. And when it does, no clipboard, no fake badge, no self-righteous sneer can stop it. The end.